All right. Good morning, everybody. Hope you can hear me. Hope everyone's doing well. I am going to try something new today. You guys know that for members, I always do a community post on Saturdays. So I answer their questions at the start of the live. I do have several questions from members today, so I'm going to do those first. And then I'm going to advance the chat timeline to 11 a.m. to try and make sure that people who are currently in the chat get their questions answered as well. Because I normally get behind on the comments. Guys, if I skip your question, just ask the question again and then maybe say, I'm asking twice because you've skipped me. I never skip anyone intentionally, but it doesn't help to post it more than twice. Okay, so let's see here. So I'm going to start with those member questions. The first one is from CA extension, the 13 weeks. After which my balance will be zero. I did the math and I qualify for Fed Ed. My benefit year ends May 10th, 2021. I realize that I won't get through both extensions, second PEUC and Fed Ed if I remain unemployed due to my benefit year ending on May 10th, 2021. So there's a lot going on in that question. So first of all, at this point, the second PEUC extension, the 11-week extension, it's not going to last you a full 11 weeks. That program expires at the latest April 10th. It's going to be worded 11 weeks or April 10th, whichever is sooner. For some people, that second PEUC 11-week extension will be expiring the week of March 13th that we certify for on the 14th. So, and again, there's a new stimulus bill that hasn't passed that may change some of this. So this is how it is right now. So after April 10th, Fonzie would no longer get PEUC. Then Fed Ed does go past April 10th, but as long as the unemployment rate here in California is high, roughly above 6%. Now, I do think it will stay above 6%, but we're really far out from April to still know that at this point. And then, regardless of what extension you're on, if your benefit year is over, how things are worded right now is they do want you to see if you can apply for a new claim. And that's a little bit hard to explain. I'll probably make a dedicated video on it. So yeah, once your benefit year is over, they want you to open a new claim. The next question is from Lissa. She says, do we know why they are defaulting your claim and putting it in review and allow 7 to 10 days? We wait 7 to 10 days and nothing happens. And we call back again and we're told to wait 7 to 10 days again. That is usually if you have answered the certification questions in a way that flags the system. So that usually means that your claim is in review. Someone has to physically look at it. Even if you've been answering the certification questions the same way this whole time, if you answer it in a way that the computer system doesn't understand, and it doesn't understand that we're in the middle of a pandemic, it's going to flag it. So one of the things that a lot of people are getting flagged for is question 2. Is there any other reason other than sickness or injury why you were unable to accept work? If you hit yes and then explain that it's because of childcare, while that's a valid reason due to the pandemic, the computer system doesn't know that and it's flagging it. It's going to take someone manually reviewing your claim, possibly doing a determination interview with you to get your claim moving again. And it's similar things like that to the other questions. Mary says, did you ever find out if the $10,200 could be deducted from our taxes, that money that we received from unemployment? They are talking about that again, but nothing has been decided. They're talking about doing that in the new stimulus bill. The FXMX says, I work on call in California and am on PEUCX. I know that if I accept work and make more than my standard weekly payout would be that I don't receive benefits. My question is, does that also disqualify me from receiving the extra $300? Yes, it would. If you don't earn at least $1 from unemployment, you have to still get something. You can work, and that can bring your benefit amount down when you work, but you have to get at least something from unemployment that week in order to get the $300 boost. Michelle says, I was told to wait 10 days for my claim to be restarted since expiring. I've called once and messaged twice. How much is too much? You guys, I am starting to get reports that the EDD is like leaving negative remarks on your claim when you call a lot. So I would tend, if they told you to wait, I would tend to wait at least a week before calling, because I don't want them to leave negative remarks and then not help you. I would give it some space in between calling though. Roxette says, I just certified, this is the, I have 2 more questions from members and then I'm on to you guys. So Roxette says, I just certified for 2 more weeks and now have 4 weeks unpaid. I got through yesterday and told that I was on a claim, that this is the first time I've been told that. I think there's a missing word. I'm not sure what that word is. Anyway, this is the first time I've been told that, but then again, I'm told something different by every person. Do you have any idea how long that should take? I don't. It really depends what your individual situation is. People who are part of phase 2, they're not going to switch to paid until March 7th. That should be a very small number of claims though. Okay. And then the last question is from George. It says, can you go over when the 11-week timeline ends? Also, when does the boost end? So the boost ends for sure. The $300 boost ends the week of March 13th. That's the last week that will include that extra $300 payment. Now, if you look at the wording from the stimulus bill, it says that the programs PUA and PEUC end on March 13th as well, but then they're phased out. And basically what they mean by phased out is that if you still have a balance on your claim after you certify on March 14th, they will allow you to continue to draw down that balance until April 10th. But at April 10th, these programs completely expire. You can't draw from them again. But again, we think a new stimulus bill will pass before then. Will the California EDD update their computer programs in time for that, though, is a completely different question. Okay, now I'm forwarding along in the chat to 11 a.m. I hope you guys are still with me, and please give this video a like. And I did see a new member join. Thank you, Bella V. Although I think you've been a member before, so I think maybe you're just renewing. So my first question from 11 a.m. is Carla. Says January 23rd, but my claim, Carla must have, January 23rd, but my claim was on 0. Not sure why it let me certify, but now those weeks say not paid. My claim says benefit year ending 7/10/21, and I received a message on January 25th saying my maximum benefits had run out, and if I qualify, I would get notified. Oops, it popped. I would get notified. I still haven't received any notification. Should I be worried, or is this off of the process? I would call them on that, because normally what happens when you run out of one part of your claim balance goes all the way down to $0. That part is normal. Then after your claim hits $0, it says maximum benefits paid. That part is also normal. The part that isn't normal is that you should be able to certify again. You say you got the message on January 25th. I just want to check the timeline on that. When was the last time you can certify? So January 25th. So that's after January 24th, probably when you certified. So you really should be able to certify again today. And if you're not able to certify again today, that does indicate an issue. Okay. Kenneth, thank you for the donation. Kenneth's question says, he's got good news. He got a hold of EDD this morning. If you received the 11-week extension letter, no action is needed, but it does take 7 to 10 business days for it to go into effect. Yes, Kenneth, that is a very good point. So a lot of people are getting either a text or an email in their UI online messages or a physical letter that says that they've been approved for the 11-week PEUC extension. And they're nervous because they still see their claim balance sit at 0. So that is normal while they get everything kind of up and running. But if you get that letter, it means that it's in the process. And like Kenneth says, you shouldn't need to do anything, but it may take 7 to 10 days to get up and running. And then welcome Uncommon Sense as a new member as well. Okay. Nina says, good morning. Good morning, everyone. Take a minute and like the video. I would sure appreciate it. Myra says, I received maximum benefits paid today. What happens next? So we just talked about that. That's totally normal. You should be able to certify again in 2 weeks. You will likely see a letter, text, or message in your UI Online account letting you know that you have been rolled over to whatever the next phase is for you, whether that's 11 weeks of PEUC, whether that's Fed Ed. And then it can take a little while for that to get up and running. You really shouldn't be missing your next certification date though. And if you do, that's when I would call them, but it's totally normal. Should say 0 all the way up until your next certification date. Jerome says, hi, I verified my ID on the 20th and I still haven't heard anything from the EDD email. I don't know where this puts me now with all the delays. Okay. So the EDD is saying that once they get the information from ID.me, it does still take 7 to 10 days for them to update your claim. I think there's just a backlog on those claims though, and I'm sure that's 7 to 10 business days. But if you got the verification from ID.me that you were verified, since it's been longer than 2 weeks at this point, I would go ahead and call them and see what they say. Agent J says, today's the day that I certified, but I'm missing a week. Can I call so that they add it on so I have my complete 2 weeks? I'm now on the PEUC extension. Also, do I get back pay for the 2 weeks I was waiting? Okay, so there could be a couple of things going on. If you guys hit the reopen claim button on your own, if it didn't disappear on its own, and if you didn't call a rep to have them remove it for you, it's possible that you can certify for more recent weeks, but other weeks would be missing and they're supposed to add those on. They haven't said when. If you call a rep, they can actually add those weeks in right now. They should be able to. You shouldn't be missing any weeks. There's one situation, and it only applies to people on phase 2, where there would be a week where you didn't get paid. That would be if your PEUC or PUA claim hit $0 on the week ending December 19th. The new stimulus bill didn't go into effect until December 27th. So you would not get paid for the week of 12/20 through 12/26. The other thing, sometimes when you certify and you can only do it for 1 week, it could be that your claim needs to go down to 0. If they haven't rolled you over into the new program yet, you would only be able to certify for the amount left in your existing claim balance. I'm going to skip the good mornings. You guys, I appreciate it, but I want to try and get to everybody's question. Andy says, after Fed Ed, would I be receiving anything else after? Or will Biden help us out? I think I might have to reapply. So everybody is supposed to reapply at the end of your benefit year. And that really can be a good thing because if you qualify, you would get a whole 26 more weeks. And it has to do with the base period that they look at. If you don't reapply, if they keep putting us on extensions, there's going to be 0 chance that we would qualify for a whole new claim. If you had a lot of work history, so for me, I wasn't unemployed until March of 2020. The base period that they used to calculate my benefits was all the way back to October of 2018 through September of 2019. So that leaves October, November, December of 2019 for them to calculate benefits, January, February, and a portion of March. So that's 6 months that I would have towards a new claim. The reason why that's like that is all of these extensions are federally funded. The federal government would prefer that we collect benefits from the state. So if we qualify for a regular claim, that comes 100% out of the state's budget. Now, and it's since Sorry, get my thoughts together. Sorry, you guys. It would be better to qualify for a whole new claim because then you're not left wondering every time, the extensions start coming towards an end. Do I qualify? Do I not qualify? You're guaranteed at least 26 more weeks if you qualify for a whole new claim. And then after Fed Ed, it really depends on what's in the new stimulus plan and how long they keep that going. Thank you, Diego. Oh, Kenneth, thank you again. Stop donating. I appreciate it, but I know we're all on unemployment. Okay, you got a definitive answer about the question 3, looking for work. You don't have to look for work. I put no and got paid, but if you're furloughed, you can put previous employer and it counts. Oh, that's interesting. I'm still too nervous on that because I feel like the reps say one thing and then something else happens. So I'm not comfortable telling people not to look for work because I don't want it to flag their accounts. And different people's claims say different things. Some people's only say you must be available and able to look for work each week. Some people's claims, like mine, they go on to have another sentence that says, and you must look for work each week. So since I'm still furloughed too, I still believe that I have a job to go back to, but it's telling me I must look for work. And I do think that even if it flags your account, once you talk to someone, they're able to clear it up. But I don't want to risk flagging my account and not get paid. With that said, don't lie. Like, I also make a habit of looking for 3 jobs each week because, again, I don't want to do anything dishonest that would flag my account. But thank you, Kenneth, and I'm glad that you were told that. But I don't trust them anymore because they haven't been upfront with us on a lot of things. Gina says, any idea what questions they ask on the determination interview? My claim is still pending from last week. I'm not sure. They're going to ask, it's going to depend on why your account was flagged. And I haven't started to see those questions yet. But for example, like if you put that, that there was a reason why you weren't looking for work and it's because of lack of childcare, they're going to probably ask you, oh, is your childcare is still closed. They're going to ask follow-up questions in relationship to why your account was flagged. And I don't know all the reasons and questions that would be yet. Juan says, good morning. Andy says, what is Joe Biden's new plan for unemployment? I haven't been keeping up, been busy. I know you have the right information. So there are so many different plans right now. Biden's plan, which is the one you asked about, would take unemployment all the way through September of 2021. The Republicans have counteroffered, and they only want unemployment benefits to last through June. And nothing has been voted on yet. Nothing is concrete. You may have heard that it passed, that Kamala Harris was the deciding vote. That was just in the Senate. The House is still going to look at it. There may still be revisions. They're saying it's at least 2 weeks before we hear anything for sure, which unfortunately we run into this with them not deciding really far in advance, with the EDD not being able to keep up in terms of programming. So what's good is that all of the proposals seem to want to carry unemployment on longer, but June or September is what they're looking at. Biden's plan would have a $400 unemployment boost, and I think the Republican plan only wanted $300. Biden did indicate that he was open to some negotiations, some suggestions. Some of the Democrats have said no, that they won't go for it if it's not lower. So it's all up in the area, and they haven't decided. Yes, Andrew says his PUA year ends 4/10/2021. And with people on PUA, I don't think they're making you guys reapply. Because again, the whole PUA program, unless something is voted on in Congress to extend it, the whole program just disappears on 4/10/2021. Jesus says, good morning, and Common Sense. Thank you for being a sub. Oh, what's your question, Uncommon Sense? I'll look for it in the chat. I'm again skipping some of the good mornings because I want to try and get to everyone's question. Jamie or Jaime, I'm not sure which that is, says $0 balance and max out benefits, but why does it say until April? Did your claim balance hit 0 before 12/26? If so, you're on a PUA claim. Well, maybe not a PUA claim. They may not have added you onto the next extension yet. So that should be it. And it's normal to see $0 and 0 or max benefits paid. Yuri says, I'm on phase 2 and I got paid this morning. That's awesome, especially because they said their exact wording, and I want to try and clear that up as well. It doesn't necessarily mean that we're not getting paid again until March 7th. They said by March 7th. And so I made a video. This is just for phase 2, though. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to take all the way till March 7th to get paid, because to me, by March 7th means, if you need to turn an assignment in by March 7th, that means on or before. If you have milk that says best by March 7th, that doesn't mean start drinking it on March 7th and it's going to be good. That means try and drink that milk by March 7th. But it's the EDD. And again, I've become pretty distrustful of them because they've given us dates before and haven't honored them. Oh, Kenneth, thank you again. Your account was flagged too as you're furloughed and got cleared on its own with 3 days because I put no. I must be able and willing to accept work. Yeah. So here's when it's going to flag. And I'm not saying answer these dishonestly, but on questions 1 through 6, it's going to flag it unless all of those answers are no, except to question number 3. It'll flag it if it's not yes, because they want, and it would be so silly for someone furloughed to still be looking for work, but it flags it if you put no to question 3. And that should get cleared up, though. I'm not in any way saying be dishonest in order for your account not to be flagged. I just want to be clear on that. Okay. Yep. Michelle and Eve say good morning. Eddie 2021, they asked me to appeal. So they're going to send you a form in the mail and you need to get that back to them. The appeal process is pretty lengthy. Scarlet Moon says, just want to say thanks. You got your claim moving. That is great. Uncommon Sense, I see your question. I was unjustly disqualified. Finally, after a couple months, got reinstated. When I was disqualified, I was still eligible for 2 weeks of the $300 add-ons, but I haven't received them. I would call them and inquire about them. So you're talking about the old $300 or the new set of $300? Either way, I would call them and I would say, hey, I was still eligible for those. There was some wording in the LWA money, though, and I would have to look for it. I'm not sure if you'll get it. Basically, that money said, when it's out, it's out. And I will try and look for that. I'm going to make myself a note. And I'll try and pin a comment after the video. Look for LWA wording, but call them and ask. I mean, see if you can get that. I'm not sure if that's going to be possible if it's on that old set of $300 that ended the week of September 5th. But if it's about this current $300, they should still be able to add that to your claim. Andy says, would you know anything about the stimulus checks? Like my situation, my bank closed my bank account, but I did receive the first check, but I still haven't seen my second one. So at this point, I did hear that it got extended all the way till February 6th yesterday for them to send you your checks. I know, Andy, you've been really worried about that. I think you're going to have to claim that as a credit on your 2020 taxes. Matt says, I've never once had an issue getting paid, but I had the California Real ID before I filed my claim. That is good, Matt. I'm really glad that you have not had issues on your claim. Jasmine says, I'm on a PUA claim. I exhausted my benefits on 12/19. Do I open a new claim or wait for the extension? On PUA claims, you can't open a new claim, and your benefit year likely would not be over yet anyway. You can't you can't open a new claim until it's been at least 1 year since your old claim started. Now, if you ran out of benefits on 12/19, that means you're thinking maybe you need to do it because you would have backdated your claim to February 2nd. But it's a little different from PUA. You do need to wait for the extension on that. You're part of phase 2, and that's where they've said that will happen by March 7th. A. Garcia says, I'm a new unemployment claim. I applied on 1/13 and also completed the ID.me verification and got verified the same day. I was able to certify for 2 weeks, but pending still. The new claims take a little while. I would I would try and call them. If you want to wait, I would say wait no longer than a week, and it should be paid. Also, when were you able to certify? Was that today? It would still say pending, usually until later on tonight before it switches to paid. If you just certified for the first time today, I would definitely give it actually up to 72 hours to switch to paid. And if it doesn't switch to paid by then, that's when I would call them. If you certified for 2 weeks a couple of weeks ago, I would either call them now or at the most wait 1 week to call them. Okay. Where am I? Okay, you guys know what to do when I lose my place. You guys gotta like the video, please. Well, you don't got it, but I appreciate it. Oh, shoot. Okay, there we go. Okay. Jasmine, your benefit year changed from 12/26 to 4/10. Yeah, that's because for PUA, that's when all of those programs expire. Because PUA only exists because of the stimulus bills. That's completely new. And again, we think those will be extended. And again, you're going to be part of phase 2. So that should clear up by March 7th. Cielo says, when is phase 2 going to start? My account hit 0 3 weeks ago. So 3 weeks ago, you're not part of phase 2. Phase 2 is only people whose balance hit 0 before December 26th. If you've been pending or if you still see the maximum benefits paid and you have not received that email saying the 11-week extension has been added, then you need to call them and find out why. Eve says, if I started working, would I get my previous unemployment checks? Eve, do you mean your future unemployment weeks, or do you mean if you have pending issues from before you went back to work? Yes, they should still give you those. And you should continue to certify even once you're working, because they depending on how much you make and how many hours you work, you might still qualify for some benefits now. But yes, if you start work today and you have benefits that haven't been paid from you from prior weeks, once they clear that up, you should still receive those. Uncommon Sense says, been using your tip by the way of sending messages, but they don't answer. Why haven't I gotten the $300? So Uncommon Sense, I did try and answer that. So is that for this period right now, though? The one that started 12/27, or is that from the one way back on that ended in September? I'm not sure, because you said your claim was paused for a couple of weeks. So let me know that in the chat and I'll be on the lookout for that, although I'm behind as usual. Johnny says, work search requirement said need 3 searches a week, not just 1. Yeah, that's what mine says too. And I just kind of go through different industries. So 1 week, I'm hoping to find my dream job, even though I'm furloughed. But who knows? Maybe I will. So I'll do like hotel chains 1 week, and car dealerships another, and car rental places another. I know it's a little trickier because some of you guys are looking for work from home, but all of these places have call centers, so like customer service. So I just make a habit of applying for 3 jobs a week, because I'm too nervous that it's going to flag my claim. The work search requirement is supposed to be waived still, but it just makes me nervous. So I just apply for the jobs. Johnny, oh no, we just did Johnny's. Alan says, you had a claim balance after December 27th, and your claim year ends on 3/13/2021. My claim balance went down to 0, but I haven't been able to certify for 4 weeks now, and I still see maximum benefits paid. That's something that's supposed to fall off on its own, but if it didn't, you really shouldn't miss certification cycles. So I have heard some reps telling people that it was supposed to update automatically, but like for whatever reason your claim got skipped. So here's how you can try and get through to them. You can call them, you can send them a message on Ask EDD, you can send them a message through Contact Us, and also contact your assembly member. Something like that they should be able to fix pretty easy, but it is really hard to get through to them. So a lot of times people are having luck contacting their local assembly members, and I will link that in the description down below on this video about 30 minutes after I stop going live. And it's in most of the descriptions on my other videos, or you can just Google how do I find my assembly member in California. Valandra 34 says to file our taxes, the 1099-G, how or when will unemployment send my husband's? We were waiting on them so we can file 2020 taxes. So unfortunately, the EDD has been given through February. So I'm assuming that means all the way through February 28th to get those to you. If he selected online, make sure you would have had to manually select online though to not get it in the mail. So I would check online. I do think that there's a way to request a duplicate copy. So, when you go to do your claim, there's those options at the top. Hit the one that says 1099-G, and you should see an option to request duplicate. That might help you get it a little faster. But they have been given through February in order to get those to us. And thank you for the donation, Uncommon Sense. I'm still looking for your follow-up information, but I'm about 25 minutes behind on the questions. Xavier, my balance will reach 0 next week, but my claim won't end until March 27th. What should I do? It should all flow automatically. It depends. You're probably on the first or the second PEUC extension. From there, they would see if you qualify for Fed Ed. That's the next thing to roll out on your claim. And then after March 27th, they are probably going to ask you to apply for a new claim. Roy's a member. Hi, Roy. You have not received your stimulus check. Your grandson, too, has not received checks for $1,200 and his $600. He is a full-time college student and works part-time. I want to say that for the first one, if he's someone's dependent, he might not have qualified for the first check. So he needs to see if perhaps his parents claimed him. And for both of you guys at this point, it is my understanding, I haven't checked super recently, but I think February 6th was the last day for those stimulus checks to go out. So you may have to claim it as a refund on your when you do your taxes for 2020, if you haven't gotten it yet. Now, Roy, you're saying that you have a grandson, which might mean that you're a senior, which might mean that you don't normally file taxes because maybe your income isn't normally high enough. But you can file taxes even if you're not required to. And then that would be how you would claim that credit and get that back at this point in time. Scarlet Moon says, I certified this morning and the whole section for work history wasn't displayed. It was totally skipped. They are updating some people's claims so that it's not even there. I think that they are finally trying to make some improvements. So that's good if it wasn't there. One less thing you have to do. Nothing to worry about. Karina says, hello and happy Sunday. Uh-oh. I skipped. Oh, shoot, guys. All right. I lost my place. So take a moment and like the video. Shoot. I got off my stupid mouse, got bumped, and I guess it's too sensitive and it scrolled all the way down. Okay. I've almost found my place again. Nope, not quite. This is the worst. Okay. Mist Ghouls says the UI claim balance is ending of February 2021, but the benefit year expires in August. What's next to do? So there's more extensions. Some people are still you're probably still on your first PEUC extension. So as things are right now, you'll get PEUC, the second one through April 10th. And then after that, they would see if you qualify for Fed Ed, although that can all change when and if that new stimulus bill passed. Antonio, I think I saw a question from you pop up. Thank you so much for the donation. If you do a donation, try and type your comment along with the donation. That helps me be able to answer it. But I'll be on the lookout for one from you. Daniel says, I was reading some people on PUA get an additional 4 weeks to make it 15 weeks. That's not exactly true. So here in California, you can get up to 57 weeks of PUA total, or April 10th, whichever is sooner. So some people will run out of their 57 weeks the week ending March 13th. If you have a claim balance that would take you past that, is March 13th to April 10th, that's probably 4 weeks. So it phases out. So if you have a claim balance after you certify the week ending March 13th, then you can continue to collect benefits through April 10th. So it's not exactly that it makes it April 10th. So it gets tricky, but let's say I applied for PUA in November of 2019, that would have loaded me with a full 46 weeks of benefits, right? And then people were saying, I have a claim balance, I can't use it. I have a claim balance, I can't use it. Because then that whole program expired 12/26. So it's going to be possible that people have large claim balances even on April 10th. But basically, Congress wanted the program to end March 13th, that we certify March 14th. But if you still have a claim balance, they will continue to let that draw down through April 10th when that ends again, unless Congress votes on a new stimulus package that would extend it again. I hope that made sense. Okay. Christina said, I finished my taxes, but I didn't put the 1099 because it came early February. Christina, you probably should amend your taxes. I don't know how people get audited, but that is a lot of income probably to have not included. And if they catch that, there could be penalties and stuff. So I would call your tax preparer and say, oh my goodness, I didn't realize that they hadn't sent my 1099. I didn't realize I was still waiting on it, but I received this income. Yeah, you definitely need to report the 1099 income to the IRS. Nina says, Hi, Nina. You're in California, PUA, and your benefit year will end 4/10. Hope EDD will extend for us. Yeah, and that they're talking about that in the new stimulus plan that has not passed yet, either through June or through September. Marion says, not sure why the reopen claim button is still there. Why? I did get paid for December 26th, but nothing in my inbox after that. Guys, this is another can you imagine, complicated with the EDD? Nothing seems to go right or smoothly or be easy with them. So the reopen claim button is also, it's not exactly a glitch. That does pop up for people that went back to work and didn't certify for a period of time. At this point, it has been more than 30 days. So now it's that button should be there, but they were supposed to have automatically removed it. They didn't. And you can call or you can hit the reopen claim button. The thing is, if you hit it yourself, it may miss a couple of the weeks. So what I'm recommending, and my boss is still having this happen also, if you hit it on your own, it might not give you the last week of December and the first week of January to certify. The EDD is aware of that and said that they'll add it in. So you can hit the button. You could probably certify for a couple of weeks at least and get paid on those. Or you can call them and they can add in all the weeks and you can certify for them right away. I no longer believe that that's going to automatically disappear on its own, especially since now it has been more than 30 days since you last certified. Daniel says, Brian says that you live in Texas and your extended benefits is about to expire this week. Do I get put back on PUA or what's going to happen? I was receiving the $300 boost while on EB. So Brian, I got to think about this for a second because I know more about what's going on here in California. So after EB, and your benefit year in Texas probably is not up. If your benefit year is up, they would probably have you apply for a new claim. If it's not, because like there's still, basically it's like the same maximum amount of weeks that you can get. So if you're on the maximum amount of weeks of EB, I'm not sure if they would put you back on PUA. I will look into that. Texas after EB. I would call them if you can. I'm going to try and look into that for you since I don't know off the top of my head. Rita said, I certified for 6 weeks going back to December 27th. Woo! That's a woohoo for me too. I'm excited for you. That is awesome. Mary says, my claim has been pending since 1/6/21. I've called 4 times and they keep telling me to wait about a week. Now I have 4 weeks pending. I applied on December 27th, 2021. What can I do now? If you've called 4 times and they're all telling you to wait, your best option is going to be to reach out to your assembly member. You applied on December 27th. I know that usually it's supposed to only take about 21 days to get the new claims going. They're probably backlogged. I hate to say it's normal because it's not supposed to be normal. Reach out to your assembly member and they can often help get those things moving. Make sure if you do reach out to your assembly member that you use the term, I am experiencing financial hardship. And I prefer email over phone because then there's a written trail of what happened and what you were told. Jason said, oh no, caps don't bother me. The only thing that bothers me on the chats is if you guys get too dirty and if you ask the question like 1,000 times, because I'm not good at keeping up with it's my issue, really, not yours. But it messes me up if you ask the question a ton of times. All caps don't bother me, not a bit. What happens after your 11 weeks are up? Then what? Then, well, we're hoping that a new stimulus bill would pass. But even if it doesn't, then they would see if you qualify for Fed Ed. So Fed Ed would come after those 11 weeks. Okay. Norman says, when does Colorado start phase 2? I still don't know on that either. Colorado phase 2. I thought I had heard that they had started, but like here in California, even when they start things, then sometimes they don't get everybody just because they've started. I do think I heard that Colorado started phase 2 though. Or you say phase 6, space 2. I'm going to write it down exactly as you wrote it, just in case. Okay. Daniela says, if it says extension, when do those benefits run out? It depends on if you're, okay, if it says extension, then that means you're not PUA. So it runs out 12 months after you opened your claim. So you can tell how long you've been on your claim by the start date of your claim. Like for me, I applied March 15th. So it's going to expire the week before that. So if yours says April, April 20th, I'm making up dates, then it would expire, your claim would expire like the week before April 20th. I hope that made sense. Okay. What do we do if it says max benefits out and the claim is until April? They should be automatically updating that, but you can certainly call or email your assembly member as well as send a message on Ask EDD and contact us. James says, if I had a negative net income and only received the minimum PUA amount, do I risk anything if I accidentally put my gross when applying back in May? I did make $2,000 in January and will file. No, James, if you're receiving the minimum amount of PUA, they're not going to pull you down below that. So they may have some follow-up questions for you, but that should not result in an overpayment. Okay. Leo says, I was one of the 1.4 million suspended accounts in California. I verified my ID and have 4 weeks pending help. Okay, I would definitely call them, ask EDD, contact us, and reach out to your assembly member. It should not take, and this is according to the EDD, they were telling assembly members it could take up to 30 days. But in their most recent press release, they said it should only take them 7 to 10 days once they get everything from ID.me. I reached out to ID.me, and ID.me says that they send everything instantly to the EDD. Now, if you use DocuSign to verify your identity, that can take 6 to 8 weeks. So if you use DocuSign, you may still need to wait. If you use ID.me, they should have switched you already. And the thing that concerns me on some of the ID issues is that it's possible to have more than one issue on your claim at once. So call them to make sure there's not some sort of other issue either. The other thing that could cause you to still not be paid is if you were part of phase 2, where you hit a $0 claim balance before 12/27. Then even if your ID was verified, then you also still wouldn't necessarily be paid yet. A lot of people saying good morning. KGLA says was finally able to certify for several past weeks. Still pending though. Claim balance refiled for extension. Certify button came up for weeks already. Certified and received. Should I certify again? Go into your payment history or your claim history and see what it says there. I hate when my answer is this, but I would call them because I don't want to tell you something that would mess up your claim again, but you might be able to figure out what they really want you to do based on that claim history and the payment history. There are people, but this would have been a while ago, where the EDD was automatically certifying people. If these are for weeks like in March, April, May, June of 2020 that they're asking you, if they're like really far weeks back that they want you to certify again, then you might need to do that. If they're for more recent weeks, you generally shouldn't have to certify twice. But again, call, because they shouldn't have sent you that in the first place. So it means something's not quite right on your claim. Anthony says, I certified for my last 400 on FedEd today. I have a $0 balance, but I've only been on FedEd for 8 weeks. Okay, and Anthony, I hope you're still on. I tried to explain this last week. So FedEd, it's so complicated. I wish this was easier. FedEd is actually worded that it only pays you half of your original claim. So if you're somebody that only had a claim that for some reason didn't pay you the full 26 weeks and it only paid you 13 weeks, then it would potentially only add, they round up. So they really should be rounding up to 7 weeks. So I'm confused about that 8-week number. Has your benefit year ended? If so, you might have that message because they're not supposed to pay you past your claim year. So when did your benefit year end? That's another thing. And if it was 8 weeks is an odd time frame, but if you're past your benefit year, that could be why. And definitely call them, because that's kind of not normal either. And even if they only pay you half of a 13-week claim, that's supposed to be 7, but then they're adding another 7 weeks for a total of 14 weeks on FedEd. So it shouldn't ever be 8 weeks. Frodo says, I was put on FedEd on 12/19 with a $0 balance, but on 12/21, I saw a balance of $6,520. So will I still be on FedEd? I've been pending since 12/14/2020. That one's tricky. You kind of might be in between. I'm going to divide that 6,520 divided by 20 is your weekly benefit amount 326. So what was really supposed to happen, Frodo, with yours is they were really supposed to put you onto the 11-week PEUC extension before FedEd. So I have a feeling if you've been pending all the way since then, that they did something weird when they did that. So, but you're going to have to call them to get that sorted out. Common Sense says, what's going on with the class action lawsuit? So there's a class action lawsuit against the Bank of America. People are trying to get one going with the California EDD. Jenny Silver actually started a petition on change.org. I have a community post that links to that petition. Calling for change, communication, more clarity. I do recommend signing that petition. I have signed it myself. I support Jenny Silver's channel. As far as I know, she supports mine. We chat a lot offline. Usually the class action lawsuits are kind of taken care of, and then you'll get like a weird mailer in the mail that's like, you may qualify for this. I haven't heard any specifics on one from the EDD in a while, but check out Jenny Silver's petition. And I'll link that in this video description down below as well. Myra says, I am not paid for the period after 12/27 for 2 weeks, and it says unpaid. Do I need to call them or wait until they fix it automatically? Here's the thing is that if you call them, they can probably sort that out right away. That is something where they've said, were you able to certify for those and they say unpaid? I would call them. There is a situation where if you hit reopen claim, there may have been a couple of weeks where you weren't able to certify. But if it just says not paid, give them a call, ask EDD, contact us, and contact your assembly member. Yes, President Joe Biden passed the stimulus package. It still has to go through all the proper channels though. And right now it's in the House and they haven't, they're doing whatever it is that they do with it. Happy Sunday. CR, when are they rolling out the extension of PUA? Been waiting since the end of December. So they have now said March 7th. So if your PUA claim balance hit 0 that week ending 12/19, they have said by March 7th, you should be able to certify again, and that letters should start to go out about that soon. NBA says, my mom still has pending in her account. She's been certifying, but no money in her account. Again, contact us, ask EDD, and contact your assembly member. Rita says, your UI went down to 0 on 12/5. They put you on FedEd, got paid for the 19th and the 26th, then couldn't certify until today. That is really strange, but hopefully you were able to certify for all the missing weeks today. Amos says they leave negative remarks for them picking up the phone and giving us attitude and doing their job. That's funny. I called and got hung up on so many times when my button, they told me to wait 10 days. Yeah, they really need like a customer satisfaction survey at the end of their phone thing. I think that would help. Uncommon Sense says, yeah, my channel grew a lot in January. So thank you guys. I really appreciate all of you. And I'm really sorry that you're still having this much trouble and confusion on your unemployment claims, but I appreciate it. And yeah, the channel's gotten big and it makes it hard to keep up with comments. So I've actually added a second live if I don't get to your questions today. I do go live Mondays at 6 as well. Michelle says, anyone still pending? There's hope. I was paid. 2 more. I just got everything paid. So that is awesome. Olga. Oh, Turlock. Oh, and she loves my channel. Thank you, Olga. It's nice weather out here today too. Mr. Singh says, please tell me about the second question. Was there any reason other than sickness or injury that you could not have accepted work each day? What should my answer be? So your answer needs to be truthful, but it will flag it if you answer anything except no. So if you answer no, it won't flag it. If you answer yes, and yes can be truthful for some people. Yes can be truthful if the reason why you're not working is due to childcare. Yes is true in my situation where I'm still furloughed. So there's a lot of reasons to answer yes, but it's going to cause your account to go pending. And then you might need it's not necessarily going to cause your account to go pending, but it can flag it. So be truthful, but just know that answering yes on question 2 can flag your account. If you're exhausted, if in disgusted, I don't know what that saying. Love light angel, every time I call, no one answers. It is very hard to get through, and that's why so many of us are now recommending contacting your assembly members, because that really seems to help, especially if you say that you are experiencing a financial hardship. They can often push things through and get you paid in like 4 days. James says, if I had a negative, we answered yours, James. Nina's helping Miri. Rochelle says, oh, you're from San Diego. Hi. You tried to certify last night. First to let you in, but then when you clicked, it says page not found. What does this mean? It just means the system's overloaded. There are a lot of us now on the same certification date, a lot of us checking our claims to see if there's any updates. So you just wait a couple hours and then try again. It just means that there's a lot of traffic on the website. So common sense, we just asked that the class action lawsuit is not ready, but sign Jenny Silver's change.org petition. Jason says, I can't get through on the phone, pending 4 weeks. Did ID on the 13th of this month, and I still have a claim balance. So you got to keep trying to call them on that. If you've done everything, but it's still pending, because ID.me on the 13th, 10 business days, we're certainly past that now. Claim balance, you shouldn't be part of phase 2. So it means that there's, it means they either haven't gotten to it, or there might be a secondary issue on the account, like pertaining to the certification questions. So, do the 4 things: call, ask EDD, contact us, and reach out to your local assembly member, preferably by email. Grace says your week is pending from last week. You called and they said I need to wait for determination interview. I'm employed, but my hours were cut due to COVID. I'm wondering, how do you answer question 2? Are you saying yes, that you're not looking for work because you're still working with reduced hours? I don't know what the question will be, but I tend to think that they will side in your favor. But if you answered question 2 as yes, that would be why it got flagged in the first place. Yep. Michelle says the website's up and running now. Jazz J says I expired benefits and can't get anything right now. They should be putting you on some sort of extension. Even if you don't qualify for a new claim, right now there should be an extension that you're on. You guys are talking about no back pay. I'm not sure what that's in regards to. Mike D wants to know, where's Jenny Silver? She's not in today. She's not in my chat today. I've messaged her a couple times though this morning. I don't know where Jenny is. Agent J says they should, since I was waiting for them to give me my extension. They should, but there was wording in there, if it's from September, that when the funds were out, the funds were out. The one and only Gino says, how long till they fix your claim when it says disqualified, but I verified through ID.me. So you're going to want to call them, but disqualification usually means you need to file an appeal. And if they tell you need to file an appeal, that is a very lengthy process. I just want to be upfront with you guys. An appeal can take 8 to 10 weeks. Sometimes though, some of the reps can potentially lift a disqualification. It depends on why they're saying you were disqualified. Okay. Alan says, had a claim balance after 12/27 and claim ends 3/13/21. The claim balance went down to 0 the first week of January. But you received a $300 payment for 1 week. Now I see maximum benefits paid and can't certify. So you said that you were paid for the first week of January. That was the first week that included the $300. But if it hasn't changed off that maximum benefits paid message, you got to do the 4 things. You got to call if you can't get through, do ask EDD, contact us, and reach out to your assembly member. Oh my goodness. No hate on Jenny Silver. You guys, I'm not hurt if you prefer her channel over mine. I like when you guys watch both of ours. I think that it gives you guys some peace of mind when you see she and I on the same page about these issues. Like, since the EDD isn't upfront with us, if she says it and I say it, you can usually count on that to be good information. And we're both just trying to help you guys. So if she gets a video out before me, watch it. I'd love if you watched mine too. If you prefer one style over the other, that's okay as well. Like we just both want to help you guys. We're both really coming from a good place. So there's no animosity or anything there. She's doing a great job. I'm trying to do a great job. Yeah, and I just want us to be positive. Okay. You missed those weeks because of the great EDD. Possibly. Let me look into it, Agent J. Let me look into it. Oh, you guys feel some type of way. Marion says, I still have a balance on my EDD, but the reopen claim button is there. I still have the same message and no new message. I'm verified with ID Me and paid for the December issue in January, but no certify button yet. Go ahead and call them. If that stupid reopen claim button is still there, call them and get it removed. They said they were going to take it off automatically, but they haven't. And like the weird thing is that button's actually supposed to be there if you haven't certified for more than 30 days. And now, because the EDD didn't remove it within 30 days, like it might actually, like it's a mess. So call them and have them manually remove that. Kenneth, I'm not skipping you. I just know that since you did the super chat, like I answered yours. So that's why I'm skipping yours. But again, thank you for the donation. You guys, I am about 45 minutes behind. I'm only going to be able to do about 10 more minutes of questions. If I missed you, I'm so sorry. With the growing channel, it does get hard to get back to you guys. But I have added a second live Monday nights at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Okay, Mr. Real says, tip for calling EDD in California. Start calling exactly at 8. Be prepared to wait 45 minutes to an hour and a half to connect. You have to call from 8 a.m. to 8:15 a.m. to get through. You guys, I don't know if this is true, but I am starting to see like with enough frequency that I'm like, is there something to this? That if you call at 8:01 a.m., not 7:59, not even 8, but at 8:01, that's a good time to call. TR427 says, yeah, we answered yours, TR427. I just put that I'm looking for work, but I actually look for work. Oh, you guys, there's like a whole YouTube is like a thing. It tells you to make weird faces, like be like, oh, it tells you to like do stuff like that. And then it makes people click your video more. As much as we want to help you guys, we also want to grow our channels. So, it tells us to make ridiculous pictures. And like, I got called out because like one day I was smiling in one of my pictures. I've done customer service for a long time, so I'm good at smiling through stuff. And they were like, why are you smiling? You're giving us terrible news. You want to convey empathy. And the other day I posted a video. I was so upset. I was like, I had taken some pictures and I was crying and I was like, I can't put this because I need to try and stay calm for people. So it's weird. This whole YouTube thing is weird. Okay. Anyway, sorry. Common sense, we answered about the class action lawsuit. Yeah, I just put 3 jobs. Like, what if we find our dream job anyway? Rachel says, oh yeah, we did Rachel's. Scott says, Scott, and then I'm going to do the super chat. I always put yes, but I skip entering work info. Yeah, and that should be fine, Scott. That a lot of people do that because the work search requirement is supposed to be waived, yet answering question 3 as no seems to flag the account, which makes 0 sense. But it's the EDD. Oh, thank you, Bill West, for the donation, but I don't see a question. I will try and look for it, but I am pretty far behind on my questions. MBA, your mom has been certifying for a whole month, but has not gotten her money. Call. You got to call whenever it's more than 2 weeks. Really, I wouldn't, you can wait, but I wouldn't, because a month is longer than 2 weeks is a long time. A month, that's a really long time to be waiting to not get paid. So call, ask EDD, contact us, and reach out to your assembly member. That's going to be the best way to go about it. And there's so many specifics to each person's claim that it makes it tricky. And I don't want you guys to miss something waiting. You know what I mean? So call. Okay. How about I started 12/19/19? So Isabella, I'm not sure. It depends on what kind of claim you're on, what PUA, right now, PUA ends April 10th for everyone, unless something extends it in the new stimulus bill, which we think it will. And then 12/19/19, you'll probably get a few weeks of the PEUC extension if you're a regular unemployment claim, and then they would see if you're eligible for Fed Ed. Valandra says, what if you don't have your 1099-G? How can you file your income tax return? Unemployment hasn't sent anything, so you can't file your taxes. They've been given through the end of February to send that to you. So you just might have to file your taxes a little bit later than usual. If you're able to request a duplicate copy, they might be able to get that to you a little bit faster. And that's on the UI Online homepage where it says 1099-G. You might be able to get it faster. But they were given an extension to send us our documents. It didn't say a specific date in February, it just says through February. Isabel, do I have to reapply? If your benefit year is over, yes, you're supposed to reapply. Junior Squad, how come Hawaii is not paying yet? Every system is really far behind. There are some groups of people here in California that aren't getting paid yet either. The programming is tricky. In some ways, the EDD here in California has created so many problems. I don't want anybody to have to wait for their benefits, but in some ways it might have created less problems if they did. So I hope that it's because Hawaii is being careful and trying to make sure that you guys don't have any more issues once everything is up and running. Oh, Antonio. Oh, you're new to the channel. You're a new member. Well, thank you. I'm ending. Antonio, is that? Okay. I feel like that's a standard message that comes up with the memberships. I feel like I've seen you around before, but if you're new, welcome. Isabel, you're ending in the next 2 weeks, so you might go on to an extension. I'm actually going to start scrolling and seeing if I see questions from members, because I do need to wrap this up in about 10 minutes. And I want to try and get to some of the later on questions, because I want to make sure that I'm trying to answer people that are currently in the chat. Oh, Bella says, my benefit year ended 1/17/21 with a claim balance of over $4,000. I spoke to a tier 2 rep who stated that a form was to be sent to me. Then I received a section 12(1). Okay, hold on. I got to look that up. I haven't heard of a section 1277 TBC. To be continued, maybe. That's what that means. So here's the thing, right? Here's a good example. In a regular year that's not a pandemic, this actually happens a lot. Okay, I'm going to read your continued thing. EDD sent me a notice of UI award on 2/2/2021 for my new claim, but is not the final decision. How long will it take to become final? And what happens to the remaining balance of the previous claim? Okay, Bella, I can explain the previous balance thing. That kind of just disappears. So this is really common in a typical year, not during a pandemic. So let's say that I go on unemployment, right today, and I have $10,000 and I use $5,000 of it. And then in June, I get a job. And so I have that job, and I also still have $5,000 left on my unemployment claim, but I'm not collecting unemployment anymore because I've gone back to work. And then, okay, I said I would start my claim today. So let's say that then we get to the year 2022 and they lay me off like the last week of January. I would still have $5,000 in my claim, but I would only be able to use like 2 weeks of that $5,000 because then my whole benefit year is ending. So that's really common, to have a balance in your claim and not be able to access it. I hope that way of explaining it made it make sense. And then I'm not sure about that not being the final decision. Some years because the stimulus bill also kind of made it weird. Usually Fed Ed is funded 50% by the state and 50% by the federal government. Right now, because of the stimulus bill, it's 100% funded by the federal government. And the federal government doesn't like that, so they want it to go back to the state. But normally, for Fed Ed only, not for like your regular claim, but for Fed Ed, they normally would let you collect it the full 20 weeks. But now the federal government wants you to apply for a new claim. I hope that made sense. I know it's like, it's hard to explain because it's also like complicated, and I wish that it wasn't. So in a lot of years, Fed Ed, because Fed Ed would also take you past your benefit year traditionally if you got all 20 weeks, right? Because you get 26 weeks of unemployment. The stimulus bill gave you 13 weeks of PEUC. There wasn't a second PEUC then. So that would put you up to 39 weeks. Then 20 weeks of Fed Ed would give you 59 weeks, and a year only has 52 weeks. So then that would already take you 7 weeks past your benefit year. So it's all wacky right now is what I'm trying to say. Okay. Still looking for member comments. That took longer than I had meant to explain that. I always love when you guys help each other in the chat. I really appreciate that. Please take a minute and like the video. I'm going to try and do 2 more questions. Okay. We'll do Breeze. Is anyone's claim under review, or has anyone went through this process and been paid? Yes. As a matter of fact, I have 2 people that I refer to my boss. I have one boss that still has the reopen claim button. I have another boss, her claim, she had that reopen claim button forever, and she actually ended up calling. She had been answering yes to question 2, which is what flags it, because she's still working some hours with our company, and she's like way higher than me. They're definitely taking her back, and she's even still working some hours. So she puts yes to question 2. And then there's a place where you can explain it. She says, yes, I'm still working part-time with the company, but I have reduced hours. So I'm not looking for work because I intend to go back to work full-time with this company once the city of Los Angeles allows us to safely do so. And that's flagging her. They talked to her about it, and then they switched her to paid on that same conversation. So yeah, I mean, you just have to tell them, you have to explain to them why you're answering the way you're answering, but then they fix it for you. Okay. Anthony said, hey, our guardian angel. Sorry. Oh, you got through to your, see, Anthony got through to his assembly member, and that helped. The Max James show wants us to do the Jenny versus Shelly WWE SmackDown. Now, you guys, I've got some weight on Jenny Silver, but she's got kids, so I feel like that would trump size. I put my money on Jenny Silver. Plus, she's like a redhead. She's probably fiery. Yeah, that's not a match you guys want to see. You guys are welcome. Let's do one more question. Oh. Michael Wisto says, mention me. I'll hit you back with a big donation, but please don't do that. But there's your mention, Michael. But I don't see an EDD question from you. If you've got one, I would love to do that for you. Joanne's giving help to Mary. I'm going to do Scott's question. That's going to be the last one for today. And then, no, sorry. Joanne's, and then Antonio's, and then I'm going to sign off. Oh, no, Scott, sorry. I get like, I need to eat lunch, and then my brain gets foggy. Okay. I called on February 4th, 2021. EDD said you were disqualified for verification ID, and I called EDD, and officer said you can fax to ID and approval of documentation, which I did. I called on, oh shoot, I lost. EDD office told me a different story, and now they asked me to appeal the verification. I just sent the appeal letter, ID, and documentation to the unemployment office. That's going to take a little while to clear up. So it sounds like they're claiming that they didn't get your documentation in time. Once it says disqualified, that usually does need to go to appeal, and that takes quite a little bit. Heidi's saying bye. Antonio is saying, if I work 1 to 2 days a week part-time, will I still get my $300? That depends on your weekly benefit amount and how much those 1 to 2 days a week pay you. I have a video, search this in the video title, Shelly's Millions Excessive Earnings. Because again, that's like a complicated process to figure out how much is okay to make versus how much is not. The EDD doesn't count the first 25% of what you make, and then they start to, anyway, it's a complicated computation. But I have a video called Shelly's Millions Excessive Earnings. We'll pop that video up and we'll hopefully explain it better than I can. And if you've been listening to me all day, you don't want to listen to me anymore, as a pinned comment on that video, it will take you to a calculator that'll do the computation for you. I'm so used to talking about EDD complications, I can't say computation. All right, guys. And since I can't speak, I'm going to go ahead and leave for today. If I missed your question, I'm really sorry. I do still go live tomorrow at 6 p.m. I'll see you next time.